Hi, this is Scott from ScottPulsaniTrader.com, and this is the fifth and final bookmap.com SI indicator setup called the double whammy. Please take a second to read the disclaimer. Okay, so the double whammy. The double whammy is the mother of all setups I look for, where the large stop runs retail traders puke their positions right into the waiting arms of the hidden iceberg smart money, trading in the opposite direction. Provided that the volume threshold for both the stop run and the icebergs is hit, this setup has a 80% plus success rate to reverse in the direction of the icebergs from my studies. In the event that the icebergs fail and the area is breached, the prices where the double whammy fired off provided an incredible inflection point on the next retest going in the opposite direction, which doesn't happen very often. Again, from my research, it's less than 20% of the time, or 20% of the time, less than 20% of the time, I should say. But I'll show you that. But again, regardless, the area is very, very important, and this is the strongest setup that there is, the double whammy. Okay, so let's go to, this is natural gas. So in the double whammy, we get the large stop run. So in the natural gas, over 70 is large for stops for our thresholds, and over 100 is large for our icebergs. So we get 225 stop run, which is almost 4 times, over 3 times normal for our threshold, not even normal for our threshold. And then the stop run was almost 3 times. I mean, the icebergs were almost 3 times as well. So what you're getting here is you're getting the buy stop run, right? That's this bubble, right into the waiting hands of the sell icebergs, right? So again, dumb money puking into smart money. You get an immediate immediate rejection, which we look for in the Dumb and Dumber anyway. But when the double whammy, you know this is a Dumb and Dumber. Plus, you got the smart money on the other side as well, so it makes it that much more powerful. So the minute you see the selling come in, right around 82 or 1824, stop goes up here, right around 1834. And you catch a nice 30-point move down, right, or 30-tick move down. Came back. I don't have the rest of this, but I'm sure it stopped here and just balanced or went lower. But the point is, you catch this move down, and then you just use the areas again, like we've talked about in all 5 setups. Whatever you look at, this could be an area to get out. You get out of TAS indicator. Say it's a support on one of the TAS boxes, the 10, 30, or 60. And then you get out of pieces, and then when you finally see the opposite kind of setup, then you can exit the trade. Our next example is, let me delete this. Next example is a double whammy in the mini S&P, where you get 1,000 sell stops right here. 500 is our threshold, so we're double that, and to 693, close enough, especially when you're talking double, right? You can go a little bit below. It doesn't have to be exactly 700 or more. I mean, especially when you're getting the dual setup. But you see the heavy selling right into the waiting hands of the icebergs. You see the move away. You see the retest, and the minute you see the buying come back in, you're long there. That's right around 31.29.5. Your stop goes below here. You're talking about 1.5 points to make. Wasn't even a question. Just straight up, right to the spot gamma level. We haven't even talked about that. If you're a member of the We Trade Desk room, you know exactly what that is. But that's for another day. Anyway, this is risking 1.5 points to make 10. So again, just extremely powerful area to be trading off of. The next example is, so the thing I wanted to point out too is if this did for some reason breach this area, and kept going lower, and Well, first of all, if it just kept going lower, you wouldn't be in anyway, right? You're waiting to see the blue bubbles, the market buyers come in. But if they do come in and then it does breach it, you're going to get stopped out, which again, 8 out of 10 times you won't, but the times you do, 2 of the times you will, in my studies. But it doesn't. This is still a very, very important area. So if it breaks down, retest, starts to sell again, you can play it to the short side off of this area. So again, we prefer to go the direction of the paper, opposite direction of the dumb traders, the retail traders. Again, don't take offense. I'm a retail trader myself, but we are not as informed as the smart money. We want to be leaning, obviously, towards the icebergs when we can. Next example is, this is in crude, double whammy, pretty decent size as well, where you have 309 sell stops firing off into 229 waiting by icebergs. That's this right here. And then what you also got is market buying, as So the waiting icebergs obviously are not market orders; those are limit orders in the book, hidden in the book, the majority of them. But when you start to see this kind of look, where the market buyers are coming in as well as knowing this, and a stop run that didn't even show red, it showed blue. That's even stronger of a setup. But we won't even get into that. Just the setup alone, the double whammy, where the stop, huge sell stops. This is 3 times normal threshold, not normal, 3 times the threshold for crude that we look to take. If there's 100, we would be looking to take the trade. It's 300 into a waiting 229 buy icebergs. Again, that's 100 as well, where we would be looking to take the trade if it was 100. So this is very big size. So the minute you see this jump above this area, right here, you're in. Your stop goes below this area here. So you're risking down to 36.17, 36.16 to catch a 100 tick move, almost a 90 tick move and counting. Before I cut this off, but you see the power of this setup. It's the most powerful setup that you can have. Let me delete this. On to the next one. This is in the NASDAQ, where we had 109 buy stops fire off. Again, over 100 is significant. Into the waiting hands of 153 sell icebergs, hidden sell limit orders. Again, you get the selling, or you get the huge buying, and then the selling initiates. So you would be short the minute it gets below this area. Right in here, you can initiate your short. And so right here, stop goes above here. Again, this is another good sign where you get market selling these bubbles. That's not even counting the hidden icebergs that are selling too. So now you get initiative selling here as well, right? That's this. So your stop is above here, 94.72 and a half. Your entry is right around here. So you're talking right around 94.60ish. So you're talking 12 points, which is not a lot in the NASDAQ, as anyone that trades it knows. And you catch I cut this off, but this was a good trade too. This kept going down, but regardless, this was still 13 plus point trade, or 20 point trade just from where I cut this off. Again, this is the exact thing that you look for in the parameters of the setup. Next example is in bonds. I showed this example actually in the Titanic, where we were looking at the Titanic. We were watching these buy orders, these buy icebergs come in here, but we weren't really getting long until we saw some initiative buying, right? But then you got the double whammy too, where the final one was the 152 sell stops, so it's above our 150 threshold for bonds, and then another 230 icebergs. That's on top of the icebergs they were taking them here, the buy icebergs. So again, once you see this fire off, and the minute you see this blue, you're in there. Your stop goes below here. You can even put it below this liquidity, which is even an extra layer of support for you. And then you catch you're in here, and you catch a 16 plus tick and higher runner, right? You're risking, maybe 4 or 5 ticks to catch. If you go under here, maybe a little more, but still, it's a huge trade, especially at $31, $31.25 a tick. Next example. This is NASDAQ again. This is a double setup where you get the double whammy here. You get the sell. You get the big sell stop here, 149. Anything over 100 is our threshold. Into waiting arms of buy icebergs, 155. Again, over 100 is our threshold. The minute you see the buying here, you're in. Your stop goes below here. So you're in right around 95 or 99.37 and a half, I would guess this was. Again, this is a little scrunched down. Your stop goes down here right around, I'd say 99.23-ish. So you're risking 14 points to catch, 60, more than 7, almost a 70 tick trade. And then, you can be in this trade. You're fine with the rotations. There's really nothing going on, nothing threshold until we get here. Then you get a Dumb and Dumber where you get the buying with no continuation, no stop and hold, no real buying behind it, and you got to be ready to exit some of that position. That's this here, and then the minute you see the stop run and then it gets below, you're out, or I would be out here, and then it doesn't. If you're looking for shorts, here's the short where the Dumb and Dumber setup where it gets below. Here's your retest. Here's the initiative selling gets in. You get in here. Your stop goes above here. And then you catch the move back down. So you're seeing how powerful when you start to layer in these 5 setups together. It's just you can always be getting out of some. You want to lock in profit. Most traders do because they don't want to see this thing come all the way back, which happens all the time, obviously. But not when the areas are relevant. Doesn't happen as much, right? So again, if you do want to get out of something at an area of VWAP or whatever you look at, like we've talked about multiple times, you can hold at least one portion until you see the opposite side setup where you would say, okay, I'm looking for a short now type of thing, right? So then, then you can either just get out of all your position or you turn around and get short and catch the move all the way back down, right? There's another 40 points down. Next setup is, this was in beans. You get the selling, you get the stop run of 260. Anything over 100 is above our threshold, so you get almost 2.6 times that. Stop run, sell stops, which is the red, into the waiting arms of the buy icebergs. Over 100 is significant that we look for trades. And then you get the immediate rejection above. You start to see the blue come in, the blue buying right there. Let me make that more clear. Right here. Oops. Right here, and then your stop goes here, right? So you're risking, this is 67-ish, you're risking 2 cents to make, this is 5 and counting. Again, 2.5 times just on this trade right here. Again, that's a big move, and anyone who trades grains, that's a decent sized move. Next example is, this is gold, where you have the monster sell stop here, 512, which is 5 times threshold, into waiting 149, which is 1.5 threshold, 149 buying icebergs. That's this. This is bubble. As soon as you see blue, you're in. Stop goes below. Again, sometimes you won't get the retest. This is kind of a retest where you could have, want to retest, and then you start seeing, this is the retest here, and then you start seeing the buying come in again here. Whoops. Clear that out. You start seeing the buying come in again here. You can, if you missed it the first time, you can get in here, or you can add. Again, sometimes, at least, especially when the first fires off, you may see the, so say you'd see buying right here and you get in, and then it may go a little lower. Remember, it's gold, but no reason you can't reinitiate the trade if if it gets back above there. Again, you gotta be cognizant and ready for that type of move because it happens in gold and in crude and 6E and bonds all the time, just like I've talked about in 5 different setups. So this one was very clean where you had no sweat. You get in here, your retest doesn't come even close to your stop down here, then you see the buying reinitiate, and then you're off to the races. This is another 65 tick trade, right? Next setup is this is NASDAQ again, where you get the buy stop run, which is this 168 stops. That's the blue right into the waiting hands. Again, anything over 100 in NASDAQ we're paying attention to, or 120, 100 in stops, and then 100 over 120 in the icebergs is significant. So this is the double whammy. Again, if this was like 115, 100, or even 100, you can probably take the trade because you got the double whammy setup. But again, you get this and it blows through. You start to get selling, but the selling is above, right? So you're not really taking this trade until you see this, right? But the thing is, even if you took it here, I mean, you definitely should have probably put your stop here, but say you put it above where you see this, and then you put it above right where this fired off here. The point is, so say you put your stop here. The point is, you probably would get stopped out. I mean, I personally would have put it above here, but say you do get stopped out again. NASDAQ's one of those markets where it might go a little bit higher, but then when you see them reinitiate their selling, you're in here, your stop goes above here, and then you catch a huge 60-point trade down. Again, all you should understand what this is. How it went a little higher, but the area is very relevant. If you got in here and you did get stopped out here, even though it didn't go higher than this, you're still looking to reinitiate the trade. Give it one more chance, because again, you're risking 7 points. What is this here? This is, you're in at around 96, and you say you did get stopped out here, you risk about 7 points. And then you get in again. Even if you lost again and you get in one more time, then you catch the 60-point move. That's the whole idea. Again, just be ready to reinitiate your trade. And then this is E-mini S&P. Again, here's the large. This is 2.5 times. 500 is a lot. What we look for. Sell stop. Right into the waiting hands of iceberg. 700 is a lot. We have almost 1.5 times that. This is kind of scrunched. I'm sure there was a blue right here, but even if you wait, you can be in here. It never really even violates anything. Stop goes down here. This is kind of large just because I have this scrunched. But the point is, you catch a. Let me clear this out. Again, you'd probably be in right here. Because I have this scrunched together, I'm sure this was blue. If you widen it out a little bit, you don't want to get obviously too wide, because then you'll see blue wherever, everywhere. But you're probably in right around here, right around this area. I'd say 2.5. You're risking down to right around 94ish. So you're risking 8.5 points. Again, this volatility is not a lot, and then you're catching. This is a 20-point move, or 25-point move. So again, it's not going to be exact every time. Sometimes you're going to have to risk more. You have to judge yourself if that day, hey, is this day volatile? What's my volatility look like? If you're using the edge from the TAS indicators, that tells you what the volatility is as far as 0 to 10. If you're at a 10, don't be afraid to be risking 8 points, because if you're right, you're catching the 25-point move up, right? So I think that's the last example. Yeah, it is. So again, this is one of the strongest, or the strongest, where you're going to be right 80% of the time when you're taking this trade, as long as it rejects. And again, like I said earlier, if it does for some reason, I don't know why that happens. Hold on 1 second. If for some reason it does go higher, and then all of a sudden it violates it, and you get stopped out, this is a very good area when it returns and it turns over again to short. Right, and you can put your stop above where all this came in. Again, you can use these areas for reference points for other trades if the original one didn't work out. You got to remember too, everything that I've showed you is all just volume. I've used nothing else, and you can see how accurate it is. Could you imagine when you start layering this stuff with the TAS indicators, the support and resistance, and the TAS boxes, or your charts, and whatever you look at, the VWAP, whatever. Just imagine how much. You're obviously make money sometimes. That's why you're in the trading game in some of these areas. Now you start to layer in these incredible setups in those areas. Now you're just certain, and that's when you start to up your size, because you just know you have a 70+% chance of being right, and that's when you start to take off as traders. So Hopefully this course was helpful. I mean, it doesn't get any stronger than this as far as edge. So hopefully you guys enjoyed it. And, any questions or, great stories and big trades you take, don't be afraid to send them to me. I'll post them on Twitter and, success stories. But, this is pretty much all you need. This and, the TAS indicators or the bar charts that you look at and you layer these together, you're on your way to becoming a lethal trader. Okay, thanks for your time, and I appreciate it.